Okay, MegaWhale team, welcome back to the channel and thank you for tuning in. I hope you all having fantastic days today. In today's video, we are taking a look at the recent breakout into a brand new all-time high for Bitcoin, discussing whether or not this rally will sustain and if so, what our possible price targets are. We'll also be taking a look at the current short-term trend invalidations, the macro trends, and of course, the total cryptocurrency and total altcoin market, as both of these charts are breaking through very critical high time frame levels. Before we get into it, make sure to smash that like button, hit that comment button, and subscribe to the channel. We post daily videos for Bitcoin focusing on the facts, the data, the technical, and the structural information. No hype, no BS, no emotion, just pure, raw TA. If that is the kind of content you are interested in, you can join us on Telegram. This is the first link down below. You'll get access to charts, updates, videos, educational posts, news events, and everything you need to stay in the loop with cryptocurrency with Bitcoin and the relevant economic news. And if you were interested in taking your trading to the next level, join us in VIP by clicking the pinned comment, contact our admin, check out our 54+ month trading track record, or watching a 10-minute video showing you inside the channel. You'll get access to two channels: the main trading channel where we post trading setups with exact entries, targets, and stop losses, and of course our group chats with our general chat, our trading chart and education chat, our news, community trade setup chat, help chat, and trading and indicating / coding chat. Check it out, guys. We'll love to have you in there, and let's jump into it. Taking a look at the price action, a very nice break here for Bitcoin as it was able to climb back through that $120,000 resistance. Upon the breakout of 120,000, we have seen consistent green 4-hourly candles, resulting in a breakout of the $123,300 level, breaching into a brand new all-time high. With this continuation upwards, we have as well seen a fantastic push up for the total cryptocurrency market cap, breaking through that $3.95 trillion level, pushing again into a high here at $4.12 trillion, and even the altcoin market cap currently sustaining above that weekly level of resistance at 1.06, approaching that continuation up into the prior December high. So overall, the markets are looking strong, led by Bitcoin breaking into the new high. We'll be discussing all of this, our expectations, and more in the video today. Let's start on the market data. 24-hour volume and 24-hour liquidations. Of course, volume up 17% at 479 billion here. Liquidations 403 million, down 14%, with 262 million coming from shorts and 141 million coming from long positions. Still looking at the 24-hour distribution, Ethereum is still top in the charts of liquidations as we are still seeing a whole heap of volatility for Ethereum. Moving over to the DXY, the DXY is still dropping downwards. I think we are coming down to retest / break through that weekly uptrend. We can see here, we are actually coming into this weekly uptrend here, temporarily dropping below, which is a sign that we are going to see continuations lower. Again, if we do see interest rate reductions, we are expecting eventual corrections down to 93 to 92, and that is the sustained expectation provided we remain below the change of character at that 100 level. Of course, the correction for the DXY is going to be generally bullish for risk assets. Looking at the S&P 500, we have reached our target of 6,500. As you know, 6,500 has been our higher time frame target ever since we broke through the break of structure level at 6,150. As we can tell, while we sustain above our support at 6,250, this horizontal base of support, the point of which we retested recently and bounced from, we are going to be remaining bullish. Provided this level is able to sustain with the 50 EMA, we are looking for continuations upwards. The loss of the 50 EMA at some point will signify a correction back into this base of support, and the loss of this support will trigger a steeper downtrend potentially into 6,000. Now, when that plays out is very hard to project. It may play out soon, it may play out in a few months, but eventually the price will undergo mean reversion to retest and break the 50 EMA, and when that occurs, we will be expecting corrections. Until then, the trend is your friend and the expectations are upwards, but for now, we have reached that psychological target of 6,500. We are watching to see how the price now reacts to the break of structure. If we drop back below the break of structure, that may result in some corrections for the S&P 500. If we are able to sustain above this break of structure level, we will then expect direct continuations into next levels 6,600. That is it for the broader markets, guys. Let's jump into Bitcoin. Again, there is a lot to be taking a look at with Bitcoin pushing into a brand new all-time high. This is pretty big. We're going to be taking a look at targets, the macro charts, the 4-year cycles, the current key trend lines you should be paying attention to in the short term, such as this steep uptrend spanning back since that $112,000 level. We're going to talk about invalidations, worst case scenarios, whether or not the price will sustain, and basically everything you need to know, including the broader markets and the total cryptocurrency altcoin market cap. Before we get into it, make sure to go ahead and sign up to BitGet, BitUnix, and BingX. The exchange links down below. If you're interested in supporting me making this content for you on a daily basis, that is the best way to do it. You'll get a lifetime trading fee discount of 15% of all your trading fees, which can build up to 45% based on your trading volume. You'll go to support me making this content, and of course you'll support yourself trading on exchanges I use and I trust. Check it out. We'll play an ad and we'll jump right back in. If you are looking for a new exchange or just want to support the channel, sign up to BitUnix with the link down below. You'll get a lifetime trading fee discount of 15%, which can build up to 45% based on your trading volume, as well as access to a bonus reward center, and of course all of the exclusive campaigns we run on this exchange. You'll also get access to BitUnix being a non-KYC exchange, meaning you can sign up from anywhere in the globe without regulations. And most importantly, I only promote exchanges I trust and I use. As you can see, I trade on BitUnix very regularly, being the highest VIP level with over $500 million in trading volume for the last 30 days. And lastly, if you were interested in signing up to our other two exchanges, BingX or BitGet, you can also do that via the links down below. You as well will get the 15% trading fee discount and everything else that comes with it. Go ahead and sign up. Thank you for supporting. Let's jump back in. Okay team, let's go ahead and get back into it. So let's start off on the total cryptocurrency market cap and altcoin market cap. As we know, Bitcoin has breached a new all-time high here. Fantastic stuff, very exciting. We'll take a look at that in just a moment. But as we've talked about throughout the last few weeks, the $120,000 level was really that key point that Bitcoin had to break through / sustain above to facilitate continuations for both the total cryptocurrency market cap and the altcoin market cap on the right hand side here, as a consequence to Bitcoin dominance still being very high. It's sitting at around 60%. So Bitcoin does still lead the direction of the market over here, with Ethereum and the altcoins being more speculative assets. Ethereum less so, altcoins definitely more speculative. We do still very much go in the direction of which what Bitcoin is moving. So the $120,000 breakout point was the trigger point for not only Bitcoin, but the broader cryptocurrency market to take that next leg, take that next step and continue upwards. And we have seen that over the past few days here with on the daily chart over the last 2 to 3 days, we've seen the total cryptocurrency market break through that horizontal level at 3.95 trillion, facilitating that continuation upwards. Now, we are in a price discovery for the total altcoin market. I'm just going to go ahead and delete all this stuff. We are in price discovery, meaning it becomes very difficult to predict price points where the price action is going to enter new resistance, develop new resistance, or just generally see corrections. We need to some extent, speculate on where these potential points will be. We can use contextual analysis, we can use cycle theories to give us potential dates, we can use measured moves, okay, we can use current and long-standing trends, or we can simply trade based on invalidation approaches, and sometimes invalidation approaches are the best. So when we're looking at the trajectory of the trend, we have to understand that the trend is upward pointing. This is our diagonal uptrend. It has spanned back since the 74k low. That is going to be equivalent to around 2.32 trillion for the total market cap. We could also see we do have a uptrend, a steeper uptrend developing within this uptrend, bouncing from that low at the 200 moving average and the 50 EMA. We are watching to see how the price action reacts to these trend lines. Again, provided we sustain above these trend lines, the expectation is that we are in an uptrend, an aggressive uptrend above this trend line, but an overall steep macro uptrend above this trend line. If we do break below these respective trend lines, we will see corrections into the other trend line. And if we break below the macro uptrend, that is when we see larger corrections for the cryptocurrency market cap, potentially into areas such as our buy side liquidities. So when we're talking about the macro expectations, the trend is your friend until it ends, and the current trajectory is still upwards. When we're looking at invalidation points in the weekly, we are still going to be watching our key horizontal triggers. Our horizontal trigger point, the most important one we are watching, is going to be that respective low we developed around about 3.65 trillion, one what we talked about for many, many weeks, a level of which we saw a support resistance flip on. Again, provided we remain above this uptrend, we are going to be remaining bullish. Dropping below this uptrend will result in steeper corrections and officially turn the market bearish. If we're looking for potential targets for the total cryptocurrency market cap, we can draw uptrending diagonal trend lines as a resistance. These are dynamic resistances where, if retested, may provide points of dynamic resistance. Again, this is sitting around vertically 4.6 trillion. Expanding that into the end of the year, we could see something around $5 trillion. So I'd be expecting 4.6 to 5 trillion at some point to be acting as a resistance if we do reach these potential price points. Now, taking a look at the total cryptocurrency altcoin market cap, the altcoin market cap is also looking very good here. Again, we've talked about the resistance at 1.06 trillion, specifically discussed the need for us to sustain a weekly candle above. Again, if we look historically, we've had numerous large wicks and reactionary candles occur as a consequence to rejections from the $1.06 trillion on the weekly, and we are currently sitting above again. So we'd like to see the $1.06 trillion level sustain here on the weekly chart, and we do believe that will facilitate continuations upward for the $1.16 trillion level, which is essentially the 2024 December top. That is also sitting very slightly above the 2021 top. So we might see altcoins break into new all-time highs. We're talking about the altcoin market cap here, break into new all-time highs when these levels are retested / broken. So that is something we were watching for. Again, the loss of 1.06 trillion will be the bearish trigger. I mean, if we do not close above here, we drop back below, we will be expecting corrections again for the altcoin market, but that is looking to be quite unlikely currently, especially with Bitcoin sustaining above 120,000. So essentially, while Bitcoin sustains above 120,000 here, it is unlikely the total altcoin market cap is going to drop below 1.06. It is unlikely the total market cap will see any sort of steeper correction. All in all, the market's charts are looking good here. Let's jump into Bitcoin. So taking a look at Bitcoin here, we have seen a fantastic break into a new all-time high. It hasn't been a very volatile one. We haven't seen a massive move up, but we are seeing a steady, sustained rally upwards, which is a good sign. We rather see steady, sustained rallies upwards than these massive, 2% candles that just get eaten up within a matter of hours after. So we want to see the rally sustain, and definitely the key level we're watching here is going to be that prior buy side liquidity at 123,241. So just over 123,000 is where we want to sustain above. If we drop back below our break of structure, this is sitting at around 123,200, that would be a sign of a rejection, and we'd be watching corrections back to the uptrend. Again, if we see the correction underneath this diagonal uptrend, we will as well see the loss of 120,000. As that level lines up, we are pushing through that horizontal level with this trend. If we do see the loss of 120,000, we'd be expecting corrections back to our macro uptrend. Again, this macro uptrend, similar to the total cryptocurrency market cap uptrend, is spanning back since the lows at 73 to 74,000. So it is a multi-month diagonal uptrend. We need to sustain above this level. If we drop below this level, we enter a trend reversal, we enter a bearish trend. So we're watching that very closely, but for now, we are looking good. So to summarize the worst case scenario very quickly, at the moment, we have broken out of the horizontal level. It is looking pretty solid on the 4-hourly chart. We'll take a look in the short term in a second. For us to be concerned, we want to see a break below the break of structure. If we jump back below the break of structure here, that will be a sign that we are rejecting from this level, which is going to be our sell side liquidity, our buy side liquidity. If we drop back below this level, we'd be expecting corrections or mean reversion back to the diagonal uptrend to retest the integrity of that trend. And if we break below the trend, that is when we're expecting short-term bearish corrections, potentially as low as around 115,000 to retest this uptrend, this higher time frame uptrend, which we know if we lose, we enter a higher time frame downtrend, potentially 110, etc., etc. So we need to sustain above this trend, worst case scenario. Best case scenario, we sustain above the break of structure, and what we will see is we will see this current trend continue on the trajectory until it is at some point retested. Remember, the higher it is retested, the greater chance we develop supports within this upper region, and thus the lower the probability that we come back down to retest this macro uptrend and break it. I said in the prior video, at some point, we are going to be retesting this diagonal uptrend, this higher time frame diagonal uptrend. At some point, we will come back down to retest this, and at some point, this trend will break. And when it does, that is when we are expecting a trend reversal. Now, whether or not that happens sooner or whether that happens later, at some point it is going to be happening. So we need to be aware that this will be the trigger for a downward reversal, no matter what price that actually occurs at. So we're watching to see how the price develops. If we are taking a look at measured moves, we take a look at the horizontal consolidation, which was this. We had the breakdown, we can still apply the break up. The break up is telling us we could see a move as high as about 125,700 as potential targets. Now, if we are looking at that move here, we are already about just under 3/4 of the way towards that target, according to the measured move. So we've already seen a significant rally upwards as a result of this horizontal breakout. When we're looking at our macro charts, we do have something at the 4-year cycle, which is suggesting October 6th, we do have a potential top. Now, whether or not we top in October 6th or whether or not we break the 4-year cycle altogether is something we can only speculate on. We can't really know for sure. I guess one way to look at it is the 4-year cycle isn't broken yet, and therefore these dates are still valid and relevant. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean we are going to top on these dates, but it does mean the dates are still valid and they are still important to pay attention to. So no matter what you think is going to happen, no matter what theories you have for the 4-year cycle breaking or sustaining, you still need to pay attention to some degree at the 6th of October or around about the 1st of October, because the 4-year cycle is currently still holding true. Now, personally, I believe the 4-year cycle will eventually break. Now, will it break at the end of this cycle? Will it break next year and we don't get a bear market? Will it continue and just break a year after? I don't know. No one really knows for sure. We can only speculate. I don't really like to speculate too much on these things because the bigger picture when we're looking at these speculative cycles is not really what makes you money. It's your day-to-day decisions, your week-to-week decisions, what really actually makes you profit. So I don't really care too much to speculate on these theories, but when we're looking at the 4-year cycle, we still need to be aware that these particular dates are of some degree of significance. No matter if the market deems it significant, I think a lot of people deem it to be significant, and because a lot of people are paying attention to it, we might see some reaction in the market, because again, the market is just a reflection of people's buying and selling decisions. So we may see that being a reactionary date, even if it doesn't become the top, it will still be a date of significance. So when we're looking at the 4-year cycle top, we can take a overall or overarching prediction at where Bitcoin may potentially be at that particular point in time based on a few theories. Number one, we can look at a complicated mathematical theory, which we'll go over in another video. We've discussed it, 2 years ago. We discussed, actually, in fact, over 2 years ago, we discussed this theory, which was essentially projecting where the total cryptocurrency market cap will be at the time based on Bitcoin dominance, extrapolating that total cryptocurrency market cap value in reference to Bitcoin dominance to kind of figure out what Bitcoin's price would be. And the price points we got was 96,000, 123,000, and 154,000, I believe. Those were the three potential price targets. Now, I don't believe I might be a few $1,000s off from some of those targets, but I do believe those were correct. We did this video over 2 years ago, and so far we hit 96, we hit 123, 156,000 is still on the table for that. However, when we're looking at something like this, which is projecting the current trends forward into these key dates, which is October 6th, 156,000 doesn't become realistic. And the reason being is because we have an uptrending diagonal resistance, which tops us out around 144,000. So that is something we need to be paying attention to. Maybe at best we'll see 144,000. For us to go higher, we will need an extended continuation and an upward break of this uptrending resistance. And that is a very low probability to occur. We don't generally see upward breaks of these diagonal resistances. They happen sometimes, but if they happen, we see very, very violent moves in that direction if broken. So that could trigger continuations, but it's something we can only speculate on. At the moment, if we take a look at the current trajectory of the trend and match that with the current uptrending ceiling of the trend, that brings us to potential dates, potential targets of 133,000, 144,000, and if we just draw that across, it also takes us to 133,000, 144,000 are those potential targets. And if we draw in the current vertical range, that takes us to 137,000. So we have this little triangular box here of potential targets for Bitcoin, provided the trend does continue into the 6th of October top. So let's just quickly summarize the video and get everything out of the way again. The total cryptocurrency market cap is looking good. So is the altcoin market. It is highly likely both of these markets will continue to sustain and continue to look good, provided Bitcoin is able to remain above 120,000. If so, we will continue to see Bitcoin dominance drop, potentially into 55 to 54%, which will facilitate continuations from aggressive altcoin rotations over the coming weeks, potentially a mini altcoin season into 1.16. That is the good news. The bad news is, if Bitcoin does not sustain above this high, and in fact breaks back below the breaker structure, we will see short-term corrections into this uptrend. The uptrend will need to sustain, and if it doesn't, we will once again lose 120,000, potentially seeing reversals for both the total altcoin market cap and the total cryptocurrency market cap, bringing Bitcoin potentially back down to retest that higher time frame monthly uptrend. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Have a fantastic day. Catch you all in tomorrow's video. I look forward to seeing you all then. Catch you then. Bye.